officially here in the NFL Divisional weekend of these playoffs. Some intriguing matchups. We got some rematches. Starting off with the Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. The Week 18 rematch for the division where Seattle did win and ultimately got the bye. And now 49ers are looking to exact that revenge and move on to the championship weekend.
It's going to be another difficult matchup, in my opinion, for the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's going to be tough, especially with George Kittle being out with an Achilles injury because they lost another weapon and they're playing a Seahawks defense who's literally described as almost better than the Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very difficult matchup again, but the 49ers all season long have been winning difficult matchups like they just did against the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, a lot of credit goes to the Philadelphia Eagles for that, for not being a competent
just
football
being
team.
dysfunctional.
Yeah. But overall, at the end of the day, the Niners did what they needed to do in that game. They played clean, they played well, and they got the job done. Again, that is very possible that can happen this game. But in this one, it's going to be difficult to move the ball a lot more just because of how good the Seahawks defense is. But the chance is that if it's a low-scoring game, it's still possible for them to win because it's not like Darnold and the Seahawks offense is rolling like how they once were in the beginning of the season.
It was 13-3 last time in Week 18. I did not expect... but at the end of the day, when you watch the game, it was more so the Seahawks dominating, even though the score was 13-3. But ultimately, though, at the end of the day, when it comes to like this matchup, at least for this matchup, Trent Williams is back. Because he came back for the Philly game, which is going to be huge, at least to protect a little bit Brock Purdy. I don't know if you're going to believe... I don't know if you're buying this or not. Fred Warner's practice window's open. I don't think he's playing. I don't know why. But if he does play, we don't know how... obviously, that's going to be a big boost on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how much... The question is how much... Ultimate question is, can they exact the revenge, which means can they perform better? The thing with Kyle Shanahan now has a game that he could work off of. Like, okay, this is where we need to improve and all that. I don't know if it's going to make a big difference, personally. Now, ultimately, it's going to come down to what Sam Darnold does on the offensive side because we already know what the defense is going to do, right? Can that defense keep it a close enough game where can Brock Purdy have just a signature drive like he did in this Eagles game and win the game late? I think that's what's going to come down to.
It's going to be close,
but once if at the end of the day, the Seahawks defensively can take away the ball, whether that means they could run it in for 6 points or they're already in field goal range and you have a good kicker in Jason Myers to get some points. I know, although he did miss some kicks in that Week 18 game. Their special teams is amazing on top of that. So if the field position battle is going to be very important. And then on top of that, you can frustrate Brock Purdy, and he threw some bad picks in the Philly game as well. I expect somewhat similar. Obviously, we know what the game plan is. Shut down Christian McCaffrey and let anyone else win. Juwan Jennings hasn't been amazing, but he's not Christian McCaffrey, right? So I personally do have after watching that Week 18 game, do have a hard time believing, especially that, yes, rest versus rust argument is going to be there, but the Niners have been banged up all year, and obviously now they're without Kittle, and they played another playoff game. It's hard for me to see another result happen. Can I see it? Sure, but it's hard for me to see it.
It is difficult. Again, I think a lot of that Week 18 is going to be literally brought up again in all those matchups. 13-3, it should be low scoring. It's going to be low scoring, and that in sense should favor the Seahawks, but also can help out the 49ers because I feel like they don't need to score 30 points to win.
Yeah, but here, let me ask you this. How much do you believe this defense could at least take away the ball from Sam Darnold? Because Sam Darnold, when it comes to when it matters most, has struggled, right? Yes, both of the games were the Rams last year with Minnesota.
Here's the thing.
What about this year?
The thing is that the way we see Sam Darnold... when we see Sam Darnold struggle is when he's under pressure, under duress. The 49ers don't have a great pass rush.
Yeah.
Obviously, a big reason for that is not having Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Whereas the Rams last year, and even in their matchups this year, they're able to put Sam Darnold under pressure. And whenever we see Darnold struggle is when he is under pressure. So when he's under pressure, that's when he makes the mistakes. The Niners don't have enough of a pass rush to put Sam Darnold under pressure. That doesn't mean the defense isn't good. Like, and even in that game, they showed that their defense is good. They limited the yardage and all that stuff. But enforcing turnovers, I think that will be very difficult for the 49ers because they can't put pressure on them unless Robert Saleh is able to scheme up some stuff, make them really confused, and just literally make them see ghosts again.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you could do it. But overall, in terms of getting pressure with 4, it's like almost non-existent when it comes for the 49ers.
Yeah, so ultimately, let's get to the prediction because for me, I am going to go with the Seahawks. Can the Niners be giant killers once again? I will not be surprised. Like, it won't be shocking because it's not because of the Seahawks defense or special teams. It's going to be more so what Sam Darnold does. This is Sam Darnold's moment to shut the critics up. Like, yes, I understand I got my ass kicked to the Rams and potentially that's going to be your next round matchup and we'll see that. But he can at least do expect him to be how he was kind of MVP level last year and MVP level at the beginning of the year. This year, Sam Darnold this game? No. But is he going to have those moments in this game where he's going to have that big throw to JSN, Rashid Shaheed, whoever, and can the run game get going? I'm skeptical about that a little bit, but we'll see. Ultimately, that defense is just way too good. And then the Niners are just way too banged up. I think their story ends here. I am going to go with the Seahawks in a low-scoring game, similar to that Week 18 matchup. It's not going to be like a blowout or anything like that, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The reason also why I don't believe it's going to be a blowout is it's a divisional game as well.
Yeah, this is the third time facing each other.
So
and 2 times in 3 weeks.
There's a lot of like film on each other, and literally, again, 2 times in 3 weeks. They know each coach knows what the other coach is going to be doing. And overall, this defense is way too dominant. Again, the Niners offense is very good when it's in tune and when Purdy is playing really well and McCaffrey is getting the ball and his touches. But this defense is way too dominant for them to score too many points on. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be like the Week 18 game, low scoring game that the Seahawks will win.
Let's move on to the other NFC matchup. It's another big matchup. After the Bears got their comeback win, first playoff win in a while, they get to the Rams. The Rams are going to be visiting Chicago. Rams are coming off a win where they almost got a scare from the Carolina Panthers, the 8-9 Carolina Panthers. But ultimately, Matt Stafford showed his clutch gene in the final moments and led that drive for a victory. This one, it's going to be a weird prediction, right? Listen, I said this on our episode that we dropped reacting to the games we dropped earlier this week, which everybody should go check that out as well. The Rams, hopefully that's a wake-up call for them. If that's their true wake-up call, there's scary hours for the rest of the way, in my opinion. Because I still wholeheartedly believe the best team remaining, even in the NFL, in the playoffs, is this LA Rams. I've been consistent on that take from like pretty much the midway point of the season onwards. It's just this last 3-4 weeks, they have given up leads and made games closer than they didn't need to be and all that stuff. Well, some of them losing, right? They lost the number 1 seed to the Seahawks in that game in Week 16, right? So overall, for me, I think as long as they just are woken up now, can they improve their special teams? That's what matters, because I expect Stafford to still be him MVP solid. I still expect Puka to could be in contention for the Opoi conversation, whether you believe it's JSN, which I believe is JSN should win it, but Puka's not that far off of that in terms of conversation of being the best receiver in the NFL this year. And ultimately, that's the Rams side of things for me.
It's just very simple for me. If the Rams show up like how they did against the Carolina Panthers, they're going to lose this football game. They were lucky that they faced the Carolina Panthers and not the Chicago Bears, because the Green Bay Packers did almost exactly what the LA Rams did, especially in the first half. The Rams were dominant in the first quarter and a half, but they allowed the Carolina Panthers to be in the game and made it into a game in the halftime, and obviously ultimately gave up the lead in the third quarter. If there's one thing that defines the Chicago Bears, it's the cardiac Bears. They do struggle to play 60 minutes, but when they get hot, and it's usually in the most clutch time, in the midway point of the third quarter, the whole entire fourth quarter, they're going to be very difficult to stop. So if we're seeing the similar sort of Rams where they're letting teams hang around, that's going to be a recipe for failure, because you're facing a team that is the king of comebacks this year in the Chicago Bears, especially offensively. But it's also a recipe for failure if the Chicago Bears don't play a full 60 minutes, because if you get the other side of the Rams where
put the game away
they're
early.
playing the killer, if we're getting the killer version of the Rams, this game will be over by 3 quarters for sure. So in the fourth quarter won't even matter for a comeback. So again, if we see the worst version of both teams, the Bears are going to win. And the worst version is Bears not playing 60 minutes and the Rams what they did against Carolina. If we see the best version of both teams, the Rams are going to dominate.
So here's the thing. One, they're going to Chicago, so weather-wise, it's going to be a big difference. LA going into cold Chicago on, was it Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening?
The second game.
So Sunday afternoon game. Sorry, yeah. Sunday games are earlier than Saturday this time. But so that's factor number one. That's going to be in the favor of the Bears' hands. You're going to have the crowd on your side as well with how loud it was at Soldier Field with the Packers game. Yes, this is not a rivalry game, but it's still at the end of the day a big playoff game at the end of the day. 2, the Chicago Bears defense necessarily isn't the greatest in terms of like yardage and all that, like all year. And they've been banged up too, so I'm not saying anything bad about their defense. But they were the king of takeaways. One of the best teams in taking the ball away this year. Stafford can't do that, right? Like give the ball away when it does matter, whether it be incorrect routes or whether he just overshoots, whatever the case might be. We've seen that from this year, especially in the last couple of weeks from Stafford. Because Stafford throughout the first 3 quarters of the season was able to protect the ball very well. It was until that Seattle game onwards where he wasn't protecting the ball well. And
Carolina game onwards, technically.
True.
Yeah.
But it isn't that like so that's the one thing Chicago can do. And if you could do that, and listen, we've seen the nervousness of Caleb Williams and even Ben Johnson in the first couple of quarters. I feel like they've eased their way into it. They know what to do now. Yes, are they going against the Super Bowl winning head coach, Super Bowl winning quarterback, arguably the MVP of the league this season? Yeah. It's a big test for the Chicago Bears. This game's gonna be closer than people probably realize. I think who was it? I forgot which former player analyst it was. I think it was on the Kay Adams show. Said Rams are winning by 50 plus. I'm like, no way. That's not gonna happen. It's gonna be. I'm not saying it's gonna be as close and tight as it ended up becoming for the Panthers Rams game. It's gonna be still a close. It'll be definitely higher scoring than the other NFC matchup. But ultimately, it should be the Rams game. Now,
here's the thing.
Rams defense is also not bad itself too.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. If we're getting like the best possible version of both teams, and it's not necessarily the Rams are gonna win by like 50, but it's gonna be like where the Rams are kind of controlling the game. Last game, the Packers controlled 3 quarters of that football game and they still lost, right? But overall, the Bears, the way they got wins, especially against good teams, is not like necessarily, other than the Eagles where they like obviously ran the ball really well, it just felt like they're going to lose up until to the moment that they don't.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously that's the fourth quarter clutch of them. The Packers in all 3 games they played, in my opinion, had more of the control of the game. It's just that in the key moments, the Bears showed up in their last 2 with the onside kick in that week 17 game, I believe, week 17 game in the Saturday night football game. And then obviously this one just led that fourth quarter comeback, that 4th down play by Caleb Williams, which is
one of
obviously
the best throws of the year.
Literally a massive single biggest reason why they're still here. So in my opinion, if both teams show up and the Bears play the full 60 minutes, it'll feel like the Rams are still going to be in control. It's just that who's going to win those opportune moments. The good news for the Rams is that they kind of dealt with that against the Panthers, where when they needed them most, Stafford did it and the offense showed up, right? And I believe it was like they answered the go-ahead touchdown for Carolina with an amazing drive, obviously Parkinson finishing it off. So again, it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, which quarterback's going to be more clutch. But in my opinion, in this game, I'm going to see the Rams control the game more so out. It's going to feel like the Rams should be winning and should be winning by a lot more. And it's going to be the same story where the Bears are going to keep it close in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So who's going to win the fourth quarter? It's either a guy who's been clutch his career or a guy who's been very clutch this season in Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so the last thing I want to say with the weather being a factor, I am concerned about the Rams' special teams. whether it be punting, whether it be kicking. I know their kicker has been a little bit better. The newer kicker has been better as we went on, but like there was a punt block in the last one, right? There have been blown coverages in the special teams game and all that stuff. And the run game in general for both sides. The Bears have a dominant run game in general. Can that be contained? Can Kyron Williams, Blake Corum open up the game for Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams and their tight ends overall? Because that's what the main success is. Ultimately, let's get into our predictions here. Yes, the Rams need to learn not to blow the lead and learn from the Packers' mistake of not being too conservative if they do get the lead, because the Bears will come back. But ultimately, I am still going to go with the LA Rams. They're my Super Bowl pick anyways. I'm still sticking by that. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a game probably going into the high 20s in the 30 range, in my personal opinion. It's going to be a showdown. It's going to be another classic of the playoffs, in my personal opinion. I am going with the Rams, though, beating the Chicago Bears.
I also agree that I picked the Rams to make the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl before our wild card predictions a week ago. So I'm going to stick with the LA Rams. Again, I feel like it's going to be a similar game to the Packers one, and kind of like the Rams Panthers and the Packers Bears one. It's just that I do trust the LA Rams to finish it off, and when they need it most, I feel like they'll be able to get it done. So that's why I'm picking the Rams.
So before we move on to the AFC divisional matchups here, we do appreciate everybody who has subscribed so far, who's been watching our channel ever since we made this one. But please keep hitting the subscribe button. We're at 103 subscribers as of this recording. We will love to get to 200, hopefully by the end of February, and 1,000 by the end of the year is the goal. We do appreciate you guys so much. We're going to have a lot more content for you coming, you guys, even after the playoffs are over. As I mentioned before, we already did our reaction to the wild card weekend, which was very wild, containing some of these matchups. So make sure you guys check out that video, because our full reaction of some of those teams are over there as well. But let's move on to the AFC, and we'll start off with the other team that had a bye taking on the Buffalo Bills, and that is the Denver Broncos hosting the Buffalo Bills at Mile High.
Again, a very difficult test for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, especially more so offensively. Overall, again, the way the Denver Broncos have played this year is going to be a close game. That's just how the Denver Broncos are. But they have won all those one-possession games. A rematch from last year's wildcard performance, where the Buffalo Bills absolutely demolished the upstart Broncos and Bo Nix last year.
And that was at Orchard Park.
Yeah, this year's different. This year's it's in Denver. So again, much different teams from last year. I do truly believe the Broncos have gotten much better and the Bills have gotten a little bit worse compared to their last year's matchup. But overall, the performance we've seen from Josh Allen against the Jacksonville Jaguars was absolutely incredible. The only issue now is that he's going to be doing it against a much more difficult defense that has an incredible pass rush and obviously an absolute shutdown corner in Patrick Surtain.
This might be one of his easier matchups in terms of shutting down a specific wide receiver.
But here's the thing. Khalil Shakir got 10 catches last game.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Pat Surtain's going to be on him. I don't think he's getting 10 catches here. So someone else is going to need to be stepping up, as well as the main person that needs to be stepping up is the run game led by James Cook. Because if that happens again, like how it did against Jacksonville, it's going to be very difficult for Josh Allen, because when the run game got shut down against Houston, those, I believe, a week 12 game many weeks ago,
he got sacked like
8 times. So overall, that is going to be a similar type of matchup. The Broncos, I'm assuming, defensively, are going to follow the similar type of game plan like the Texans had in that game. But overall, as a team, I think it's an easier matchup, like if you're looking at it as a team, but as an offense, it's obviously a much more difficult matchup and a much more difficult matchup for Josh Allen.
Listen, at the end of the and Josh Allen's somewhat banged up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other concern as well. Again, everybody says it. Josh Allen's path to the Super Bowl is a lot easier now in terms of he doesn't have to face the other top quarterbacks, because he's the best quarterback remaining in the whole playoffs, you could say, right? Yes, the MVP is going to go to either Stafford and Maye, but overall, we know who the better player is when it comes to that. But the matchup doesn't mean it's at the end of the day, team sport. It's going to be a better defense. And he narrowly beat the Jags. And yes, the Jags defense is not bad. But the Jags also, on the offensive side, made some mistakes. This defense did step up in the pass game as well, for sure. Run game, yeah, they allowed Tootin and Etienne combined to get over 100 yards. We kind of expected that from the run game itself, but they were able to get the pass game rolling. Contained a little to a certain extent. Yes, Trevor Lawrence made some good plays. Bo Nix is one of the league, I'm going to say right now, game managers. I'm not going to say he's like that superstar star quarterback, but he's getting the job done. At the end of the day, he can get the ball down the field if he needs to Troy Franklin or
Courtland
Sutton and all these guys. But and then on top of that, like I said, the run game's weak. RJ Harvey needs to have himself a game to help Bo Nix out and go on from there. On the Bills side of things, so that's gonna make it tough. At the end of the day, I'm riding is Josh Allen. If you stop Josh Allen, with like how the Texans did, you better not lose this game. Simple as that. Like there's literally 0% chance that you should be losing this game, right? For whatever reason. And you're at home as on top of that as well. So ultimately from the Bills side of things is yes, get the run game rolling to help Josh Allen at least alleviate some stuff. Listen, the ball's going to travel obviously faster. You have a speed demon, and then Josh Allen has an arm in him, and then he could obviously run himself. One thing I heard about the Broncos defense that I've seen and especially with the secondary, they are prone to give up penalties. And not as much Patrick Surtain, but Riley Moss for the most part, right? Like his year compared to last year isn't as big as it is. Pass Surtain, we know that, right? Like he's reigning DPOI. He obviously would be in the conversation once again every year in and out. Obviously this year Myles Garrett just had freaking more than an outstanding year there. But that's for me on the Bills side of things. The Broncos, you just need to find a way to get the run game rolling to help open up your pass game. And listen, at the end of the day, just find a way to stop Josh Allen. Contain him, whatever the case might be. Make it tough for him. He doesn't have the weapons. You have the better corners compared to what the Jags have. In my opinion, this is the Broncos' game to lose. That's the best way. Like I said for the Jags, there's a missed opportunity. I think for the Broncos, especially with coming off a bye week and you're facing a banged up Josh Allen, yes, he's still going to be elite in my opinion in that game. It's going to be a missed opportunity if you can't get to the championship game.
I 100% agree with you. And if I'm getting into my picks, the Denver Broncos are just a better team. It's just simple as that. And in this situation, I am going to be picking the better team, even though the best player is on the other side. But overall, again, it took the best player. It happened once, but he's facing a defense that just literally Super Bowl caliber defense. And we have 3 of those in the Broncos, Texans, and the Seahawks here. Again, it's going to be very difficult. Expect to see Nick Bonito doing his thing, Zach Allen doing his thing.
No, if it wasn't for Myles Garrett, Nick Bonito should be in the conversation for DPOI this
Exactly, year. Yeah. So overall, it's going to be difficult for Josh Allen. If last week was hard, this week's going to be more hard.
Are you doing a reverse psychology thing where you're betting against your boy and then he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to reverse jinx this, and he beat the Jags?
It's not though, like, what? Okay, so the Jags a better team than the Bills?
No.
They're not?
Sorry, yes. I meant to say, I thought you might have flipped it the other way.
Are the Broncos a better team than the Bills?
Yeah. Should be, yes.
Which defense is better, the Broncos or the Jags?
Broncos.
Exactly. What? And is Josh Allen healthy?
Okay,
or?
be honest.
I'm being honest.
No. I'm saying you kind of are slightly reverse.
Okay, sure, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm giving you an honest opinion that the Broncos defense is exactly what the Texans is exactly like the Texans defense, and the Texans defense absolutely dismantled Josh Allen that football game.
Yeah, no. I'm bringing it up as more as a joke, to be fair, but because I know you're a Josh Allen guy.
I'm proving my point. And I'm gonna be rooting for the Bills.
Yeah,
but I'm picking the Broncos because it's simple as this. This defense is scary. Josh Allen is banged up. Josh Allen had 0 success against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans defense and the Denver Broncos defense are both really good, or similar tier of defenses in the NFL, and also throw in the Seattle Seahawks as well. So overall, again, he's not facing Patrick Mahomes, but he hasn't faced a defense like this in the playoffs though.
All right. Everything you said is 100% true. Everything I obviously kind of correlated to what I said earlier. The Broncos are the better team. The Bills barely beat the Jags, and the Jags defense isn't as good as the Broncos. The offenses, yes, you could say are somewhat similar. The Jags and the Broncos. You could even argue the Jags offense could be better.
Jags offense.
His offense is probably better. But that being said, I'm still riding with my pick of the Super Bowl. I had the Rams beating the Bills, so which means the second part of that equation is the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is going to carry this team through this game as well. I'm going to just ride with that hill and die on that hill, because at the end of the day, like, yes, this is not basketball where the best player usually on the team usually wins the game sometimes. Like, he can carry the load for the most part. And yes, he's facing a juggernaut defense, but Josh Allen is going to Superman his way to the Super Bowl, and that still continues with this route, because at the end of the day, there's Broncos, in my opinion, are still a beatable team. At the end of the day, they're not the 70. They're not the Warriors with KD that LeBron couldn't get past eventually after, right? So like that, I'm still riding with that because Josh Allen is that good of a player, and he's still he's the best player remaining in the playoffs, and I'm riding with the Buffalo Bills on this one.
Last matchup: New England Patriots are hosting the Houston Texans, and we saw both quarterbacks struggle, but we also saw Drake Maye have a good second half and a good fourth quarter, and was able to adapt into the situation. Both defenses, again, very elite. Houston Texans is obviously the best defense in the NFL. We know that, but the New England Patriots did cause Justin Herbert, Greg Roman, and overall Chargers offense
Greg Roman lost his job.
Yeah, a lot of trouble, to the point that Dan Orlovsky comes out and saying that even looking back at the film, I had no idea what the scheme was for the Patriots. So
in a good way.
In a good way, in terms of like they were able to disguise everything and be able to execute those disguises as well. Both defenses, or not both defenses, the Patriots defense is going to be facing a pretty average mid offense. Whereas the Texans defense is going to be facing an offense that is good as long as Drake Maye is playing like Drake Maye that we know. And he did that in the second half. Again, it's fair to say because it's his first playoff game, he might need time to adjust, just like Caleb Williams did, but they both showed up when they needed to show up, where in terms of Caleb Williams leading a comeback and Drake Maye putting away the game and putting away the Chargers.
Is this the hardest game for you to get a gather on, to predict and all that stuff out of out of the other three matchups?
Not really. I think they're kind of similar-ish. I do have a hunch, basically. Again, it's basically, here's the two questions you're facing.
Yeah.
We saw Stroud and the Texans struggle against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first three quarters, especially.
Yeah.
So, what are we gonna get there? That's the unit you're gonna be looking at here.
Yeah.
We know the Texans defense is gonna be able to slow down Drake Maye and this offense.
100%. Is this a rematch, by the way, from the regular season too?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't believe. I don't think so.
Okay.
So that's the unit, that's the X factor of this game. What is that offensive unit, and what is Stroud going to be able to do? But the other side is, how much damage can Drake Maye and this offense do? I do believe that they'll do much more damage than 6 points than the Pittsburgh Steelers did. I do believe that they'll be able to get to that 20-point range. Not saying like get to that 20 points, maybe 20 to 24 point range. Drake Maye is that good. I do have that belief in him. Obviously, he's the better quarterback this season. So if you're expecting an offense if I'm looking at an offense that's going to turn up, you're looking at the Patriots. But if you're looking at a defense that's able to shut down completely of everything, you're looking at the Texans. So the question is, how can this Texans offense just help out? How much can they help out the defense? Because they didn't do much to help out in the first three quarters against the Steelers, where the Steelers also forced turnovers as well. That's the last thing the Texans cannot have. If the Patriots force turnovers, the Patriots defense force turnovers, the Patriots will win this football game because their offense is just better than the Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
So here's the thing. What the hell is the status of Christian Gonzalez? As of this moment, he practiced today. He was expected to practice today. He is in concussion protocol from the injury in the division or the wild card game against the Chargers. So that's gonna be a key factor, right? Because you need someone to contain Nico Collins at the end of the day. Christian Gonzalez is you could argue a top 3 corner in the NFL, right? Top 5 at the most. So yeah, like this ultimately comes down to which offense is going to do more, and we know the answer to that against which defense. Because at the end of the day, the Patriots defense is still really good.
Yeah.
That Texans offense has been the middest offense I've seen in the NFL this year. CJ Stroud had a couple of good games during the regular season. I understand that. He still gets to get the job done to a certain degree because their defense puts them in a very good
he leads them to like one.
Again, okay.
But I'm just saying this quickly. He leads them to 1 or 2 drives where like they get the points, and that's all they need.
Exactly.
Like 1 or 2 drives.
You have probably the best cornerback duo in the NFL. I don't think you could disagree with that.
No.
Stingley and Lassiter. You have really good. You have probably the best two-punch pass rushing duo probably in the NFL as well.
Yes.
And this is on the top of my head. I'm thinking, I'm for sure there's like, yes, Myles Garrett and someone, but I'm talking about like two studs, two studs strictly, right? Like obviously Myles Garrett on his own can elevate another guy on his team. I get that. But like we're talking about how Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson are playing that way. You have a good leader in the linebacker group in Aziz El-Shaair. Listen, Drake Maye, as much as it's still his first playoff in general. Yes, it was a slow start against the Chargers because the Chargers defense at the end of the day is led by a good DC and Jesse Minter, who's getting head coaching interviews as we speak. But as the game went on, he got comfortable. But you are going against, like you said on the other last episode we did, you are going against a juggernaut defense. But on the flip side is like let me ask you this, put it this way, how you said it. Are you able to trust this Pats offense more against this Texans defense than that Texans offense against the Pats defense?
Well, that's the questions I brought up.
Yeah, so I'm asking you. Yeah,
that's the question that needs to be answered, honestly.
So which one do you believe is more?
It's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah,
I think
because the defense is that good, Texans.
Okay, here's where I'm gonna. Here's my thought process here. I'm gonna eliminate those 14 points that the Texans defense had at the end of the quarter against at the end of the game against the Steelers. So you're looking at it. It was a 16-6 game for the Texans, right? If you're looking at their offense, is why. It will be a 16-6 game if the Steelers, in that case, if I eliminate those turnovers that they had, the 16-6 game with the Steelers winning the turnover battle. If the Patriots win the turnover battle, I don't think it's going to be a 16-6 game for the Houston Texans. I could think it'd be a 20-16 game for the Patriots, right? Or even worse, I could think it'd be like a 20-14. So, again, I think the Texans are the favorite. Like in my personal opinion, I don't know what the line is, but like in my opinion, I think the Texans are the ones that should be the favorites.
I'll double check that for you, but yeah, keep going.
But I do trust this offense a lot more than the Steelers defense or the Steelers offense, and I do 100% believe what the Patriots defense can replicate what the Steelers defense did to this offense, and are able to force turnovers. So for that reason, I'm gonna be.
So Patriots minus 3.5 favorites according to score.
Yeah. So like, but in my opinion, I think the Texans should be. If the Texans lose, like they'll be hella disappointed in terms of like a missed opportunity wise, because you're facing an inexperienced quarterback and Drake Maye. But I do believe I would back the Patriots offense scoring more on the Texans defense, because I don't trust that offense enough, and they are playing a really good defense as well, and they did not perform
led by Mike Vrabel, led by Josh McDaniels.
They did not perform good against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I do believe the Patriots defense is as good, if not better, than the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for that reason, I'm going to be picking the New England Patriots.
By the way, before I give my prediction, I was just looking at the score on the betting odds. Again, we don't bet, so I don't know how it fully works, but like I remember at least the initial odds for the Bills-Broncos game, the Bills were favored. But now on score it says Broncos are favored, but like I'm saying
same thing happened with Jags.
That's a scary thing.
Same thing happened against the Jags. Yeah.
That's a scary thing though. Like if you're putting Broncos as underdogs, that's gonna be a funny way how the betting would work with that. But going back to my thing, I pretty much agree with what you're saying. I do not like this offense. The Broncos defense the Patriots defense is still really good. I'm looking at the Texans scores from the season. Almost every game was with at the most 10, maybe 2 possessions. There were 3 games, obviously the Titans, the Ravens, and the Cardinals games that were like blowouts, you could say.
So it was a possession game?
Otherwise, like a possession or 2 possession game, like 10 points.
Okay, yeah.
Like, right? So at the end of the day, like the games have been relatively close. They're obviously on a heater. They're on a massive win streak, ending the regular season and entering the playoffs. They obviously won against the Steelers. But I think Drake Maye has found his comfort level now in the playoffs because of the second half of the thing. Yes, it's going to be scary going against the Texans defense, and we know what's going to happen. But I feel like he's been in the MVP conversation for a reason, right? And I feel like he's going to ball out in this. And I don't think the Texans offense is going to do much on this defense, especially if they couldn't do much on the Steelers defense. Because again, like you said, 14 points came off of defensive scores, right? It was a pick 6 and there was a fumble 6. Returned for 6 points. So that being said, I do 100% agree with you. I am going with the Patriots beating the Texans in this one because I just like their offense a little bit more. They have the MVP candidate, CJ Stroud. Has not looked the same since his rookie year at all. Although, yeah, is it going to be surprising the Texans win this game? No, because their defense is just that legit. And if they were able to do it to Josh Allen, it won't be surprising for me if they do that to Drake Maye as well. But ultimately, I am going with the Patriots. So we both have the Patriots. We both have the Seahawks. We both have the Rams. And we're split with the Bills Broncos. I have the Bills, you have the Broncos. Ultimately, that's our predictions. We would like to hear yours in the comments down below. Let us know who is going to win each matchup and what AFC, NFC championship matchup are you looking for. We appreciate everybody watching once again. Check out our reaction from the wildcard weekend popping up on the screen right now. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.